Progressive Mind Show, your number one community building show in the world. Every Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. CST, live on Facebook and YouTube. Join us as we discuss pertinent issues that relates to you and I with your host, Alinko.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Progressive Mind Show. I'm your host, Sena, aka Alinko. We are located right here in the beautiful city of Chicago. Today is June 21, 2021. It's a beautiful day, and we are glad that you have joined the number one community building show in the world to have conversations regarding these pertinent issues that bothers us day in, day out. Today, as you may have seen on social media, we're literally going to be talking about issues going on in Haiti and South Africa. I'm sure you've seen some on social media. We're going to try and do our best to touch on some of these things and see how best we can deal with them. We will also encourage our listeners to join the conversation at any time. We'll give you the calling number so you can contribute. But before we get into the thick of things, Captain Mike will give us a segment right after that. We'll come back here and get into it. But please share the feed now on Facebook and on YouTube. We are live also on Twitter. Captain Mike has a few updates regarding the weather, sports, and health. And I was just talking to you about the game last night. I think a lot of people stayed up to watch. I mean, we were anticipating a very good game. For me, it lived up to expectation. I don't know about you, man. But please go ahead and take it from here.
Oh, yeah, I guess you were watching the Costa Rica-Jamaican soccer game.
Yes.
We're talking about, okay, yeah. Current weather at Midway Airport at 72 degrees. Winds are out of the north about 9 miles an hour. So for the rest of tonight, it's going to be a really nice night to keep those windows open. Cooler with north winds, partly cloudy. Tomorrow, light winds, also going to have 82 degrees. A chance of some showers tomorrow, and maybe a stray thunderstorm or two. Friday, chance of a thunderstorm, high of 81 degrees. Winds are going to be out of the west. Saturday, Sunday, hot, 90 degrees. Winds are going to be out of the southwest. A little bit windier on Saturday than Sunday, but chance of rain both nights. Really a chance late Saturday and early maybe on Sunday, and maybe a stray thunderstorm or two. But it's going to be really hot and humid and muggy, but better than cold. Monday, still warm, cooler by the lake slightly, 5 to 10 miles an hour. Chance of rain late Monday, chance of rain early on Tuesday, about 86 degrees. Wednesday, we're going to come back up to about 90 degrees. So hot, humid, muggy these next few days. Get used to it. Drink a lot of water. In our sports report, the Cubs and Sox are playing tonight, 7 p.m. for the Cubs, playing Cardinals in St. Louis. Twins are going to be in town playing Sox at 7:10 p.m. And as we talked about before last night, Costa Rica defeated Jamaica 1-0 in soccer. And also the Milwaukee Bucks are the world champions of the NBA. So good for them. Going through our health and fitness report, we're going to talk about our eyes. So something we have to do as pilots, we have to get our eyes checked twice a year because you kind of want to see where you're going. So our vision is important, especially as we get older. You guys are young. You don't have to worry about it too much now, but people like me getting older. So eat lots of omega-3 fatty acids, really good for the eyes. Fresh fruits and vegetables, leafy green vegetables, and berries are really good for your eyes. Limit the amount of refined sugars and processed foods. It doesn't directly affect your eyes, but it can lead to diabetes and hypertension, which then could affect your vision. Smoking also, as we say here on the Progressive Mind Show, there's nothing good that comes from smoking. Stop. If you do smoke, stop now. Talk to your doctor, come up with ways to stop. Wear sunglasses and a hat on real sunny days. Protect those eyes. Limit the time that you use with electronic devices. Wear glasses, protective goggles if you're in an area that has dust or debris. And also get your eyes checked at least once a year. get those eyes checked. Very important. And with that, Sena, we're going back to you.
Right, Captain Mike, thank you so much for those the tidbits. Well, I wanted to ask you though, I know we always try to touch on the current updates, current situations or the updates with the airline industry, and so as you said, things are opening back up. The weather is getting more beautiful, so people are trying to move around. Any updates on that so far?
Yeah. This week is actually even looking even better than last week. Last week we were around average about 75% capacities compared to 2019. Now we're up to about 82% and still moving in the right direction. Mm-hmm. But also, I put in a caveat. That COVID looks like it's researching that Delta and was it the Gamma variant? So stay safe, wear your masks, talk to your doctors on how to stay safe so we can keep these numbers rising and I can stay employed.
Well, now, something you mentioned earlier with regards to staying away from our devices to protect our eyes, right? But it's so difficult in these days, right? Because we're on our computers, we're working, we're checking social media. So it's almost impossible to stay away from these devices. And you're watching TV when you have some spare time, movies, and all of that.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because there are a lot of blue light that affects our eyes. Talk to your optometrist, and once again, we'll dovetail back into what we talked about protecting our eyes. Talk to your optometrist, and there may be ways or certain glasses that you can use that help block that blue light and limit some of that exposure to it, and also just kind of take your time, know how much time you're using on your devices and kind of limit it to. So once again, during your annual eye exam, talk to your doctor on how to protect your eyes from those electronic devices. So that's a very good topic to bring up.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we can have this on the show. Thank you so much, Captain Mike. Please pardon me. He's not an eye doctor or anything. We're just trying to figure out something. So pardon us. But yeah, man. Yeah, he flies for a living, and so hey, we should do a segment on that, man. But we'll talk about it. Do a segment on flying, planes, all of that. Who knows what we might find out?
Sounds awesome to me.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and for watching the Captain Mike segment. The show will continue right after this. Captain Mike, thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Hey, we'll see you next week.
All right, here comes the guest for this evening. But before that, we'll take a short break. And then after that, we'll be introducing our beautiful ladies. They happen to be ladies this evening. We tried to get the guys. They said the guys were so busy and they couldn't make it. That was a joke. We shall be right back. With great professionals within the Chicago community from both the Haiti and South African communities, but residing in Chicago. We're going to be talking about updates from Haiti and South Africa. And again, welcome to the show. We want to ask you to share the feed whilst you're watching. This is the Progressive Mind Show, where we build our community through dialogues. Today's topic, updates on Haiti and South Africa, speaks for itself. As we might have been aware of the unrest and uncertainty hovering around these two countries in the past few weeks. On the 7th of July, we heard a terrible noise about the assassination of the Haitian president at his private residence. Now, we're not going to go into all of the reasons why and what actually took place, but we will attempt to see how the nation is doing, how they are coping with the situation, and all of that. Our guest this evening will be talking more on the issues happening on the ground, with the people and the nation at large, and also what people are looking forward to. This evening, we'll also have in our midst SORAYA, who would be helping us to understand some of the situation going on in South Africa regarding Jacob Zuma's arrest and how it's connected to the looting in the country. So let me not waste too much time of yours and get straight to our guest. We have SORAYA. Now, please help me correct it if I am wrong, Soraya. I tried to get it right when you pronounced it, but please pardon me. So it's SORAYA SHEPPARD, right? And you are the executive director. Okay, go ahead.
So it is SORAYA.
SORAYA. Okay.
And SHEPPARD.
Okay, SORAYA SHEPPARD is the executive director of Color Me Africa Fine Arts. You are welcome. This is the first time you're on the show, so we are pleased to have you. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And again, this is next to her is the incoming president of the Haitian Lawyers Association. Correct me again if I'm wrong. I try to get these titles right. She's the president of Miss Attorney ANASTASIE SENAT. Did I get it right? I think.
Hi, how are you? Good evening. Thank you.
Did I get it right?
ANASTASIE SENAT, yes.
Awesome. I was rehearsing it in my head since you mentioned.
Yes, good job.
Don't miss. And next to her is Daphne RENE Antoine. Daphne, I hope I got it right.
Thank you for having me. It's Daphne, but it's fine.
Oh,
thank you for having me.
Daphne, I'm not going to miss it. Daphne. Ladies, so great to have you on this platform. We thought to at least, try to get a community. Some of these things that are happening there on social media, people are seeing what's going on, but you are all you represent that country because that's your birth country. And of course, you live in the States. We wanted to get to know and just to clear the air with our audience that we try to reach out to the consulates of these respective countries in the city of Chicago, but due to their busy schedules, we couldn't get hold of them. But we are pleased and grateful that this honorable guest decided to help us with this conversation. And so let's start with Soraya. Now, what does Color Me Africa Fine Arts stand for? I know you've been working with it for some time now, just so our people can get to know who you are, what you represent.
Thank you.
Why you're here. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I am from South Africa. Okay. I was born and raised in Johannesburg. And, during the apartheid days, we were all labeled a particular group. And so I would be considered Malay, but basically a mutt. However, Color Me Africa Fine Arts was established in 2017 as a result of a promise I made to Nelson Mandela. He asked all the exiles he met when he made his first visit to the United States upon his release to make a promise to go home and make a difference for South Africa. And when I was able to do that, I discovered that art is a passion of mine. And I found it particularly disheartening to discover that artists in the country were still living in poverty. Art dealers, who are majority white South Africans, were collecting art from these artists in their townships and selling it for a fortune. And so I did a lot of research around this and discovered all of it to be true. And decided I wanted to create a nonprofit organization while based in the United States as a platform to highlight the issues our artists are facing and give them an opportunity to travel abroad, especially to the United States, and exhibit their work. And we've done that. We've had artists come to Chicago. We had 14 artists come to the Harlem Fine Art Show in New York. And COVID has really been the biggest interrupter for us so far because we haven't been able to get much work done. But we are still around. We have our platform is online and we do a lot of virtual exhibitions. In fact, we will be having our first all-female art exhibition from women all throughout the continent. This particular one will feature 3 women from different parts of the continent. And that's going to be in September 11th.
Thank you for giving us an insight to what you do. You also mentioned that, if I heard you correctly, did you say you are from the Malay tribe in South Africa?
It's actually not a tribe. It's Malay. Malay, M-A-L-A-Y.
Okay. Malay.
And we originate out of Cape Town.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
And so we're very mixed with those other tribes.
Great. Can you maybe help us understand, like, what are the major tribes or maybe ethnic groups in South Africa?
Oh my goodness, there's so many.
Like the major, like
so,
the major one.
so the Zulu tribe, everybody knows the Zulu tribe.
Yeah.
Then you have the Xhosas, then you have the Tswanas, then you have the Pedis.
Yeah.
And then you have people like us who were brought there. Like I know from my history that our ancestors were brought there through Indonesia, Malaysia, by the Dutch East India Company as slaves.
Okay.
That's our ancestry.
Right.
And of course, there's others who were brought as indentured servants from India by the British, and they landed in the KwaZulu-Natal area, and that is the area that really went through this incredible hardship right now because of the insurrection.
Right. Wow. Thank you. Thanks for that education, because in Ghana, for instance, we have, like, Africa, it's a ton of different dialects and tribes and ethnic groups. Ghana has have them in hundreds. The major ones are about 4 or 5, so Chi, the Ashantis, the Gans, and then the Elwes and whatnot. So thank you so much for giving us that education. Ms. ANASTASIE, you are the incoming president of HALA. Tell us what HALA stands for.
Again, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
HALA refers to the Haitian American Lawyers Association of Illinois. Okay. I am the incoming president. I was not born in Haiti, but my parents were, and so that makes me first generation American. I was born and raised right here in Illinois. Okay. What we do is we advocate for the rights of the community in the best way that we can. Our newest slogan has been, we're more than just immigration attorneys. So we're an eclectic group of attorneys that would try to help the community as much as we can. Right. And so I appreciate you having me this evening.
Thank you so much. And it's our pleasure having you, Daphne. ANASTASIE. Daphne, I think that tonight you would have to pardon me. I'm struggling with the pronunciation. I don't know why, but Daphne, right? Is it Daphne? Is it?
It's Daphne, but it's okay.
Oh, yeah. It's the
we have to agree, make it A. It's okay. Fine. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Now, so Daphne, you of course, you run AGP Unlimited. When we spoke, you gave me a background of what it is, but our audience would also like to know who you are, family structure, if you want to share, so we could have a better understanding of who Daphne is.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for having me. Good evening to you all, and good evening to the audience. So my name is Daphne RENE Antoine, and my husband and I, we own AJP Unlimited Services. It's basically an independent courier and moving services that we have in the Chicago area, where we can service a community who may need our assistance. With that being said, I am originally from Haiti, born and raised in Haiti. I came here in my, I would say, early young ages. And basically, I'm an advocate for the Haitian community. I love being Haitian. I love sharing our culture. And I love helping the people in Haiti however I can, as well as our community here, to be connected to one another, to support each other, and to just represent the Haitian culture to the best of our ability. So that's who I am. That's what I do. And thanks again for having me.
Brilliant. Look, we all live in Chicago, and I always say on this show, Chicago is the best city ever in the world. What's your opinion, guys? What you all think? Like,
I agree. I love Chicago.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, I'm not alone, guys. I'm not alone. We have a lot of Chicago fans. Okay. Yes, now, so we wanted to, it's been a few 2 weeks of, I'll say, unrest in these two countries, even though we know that there's so many other issues going on in different parts of the world. But let's look at Haiti first. And so, Daphne, when we spoke, you mentioned some of your passion, your projects, stuff that you like to do back home and whatnot. And we know that the narrative about Haiti, it's all poverty-stricken country, struggling people, and all of that. Now you live there, and you migrated here, and you've seen the difference. Right. That's why you go back home to do work, to do benevolent work. What would you say is the current situation, or the current economic situation when it comes to the country Haiti?
So it is true that Haiti have some, I guess, economic challenges, which has been, for many years now. So we can all agree on that. However, Haiti is more than the narrative of being the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. The Haitian people are very resilient, hard worker, and people who want to stand for their families, who want to work hard for their families, who want to send their children to school. And I'm sure, as even us here in America, every parent want to have an opportunity to work, to send their kids to school, to have security, and to be able to be entrepreneur. So many economy is based on businesses, is based on entrepreneurship. As myself and my husband, we are here in America as entrepreneur. So we do believe in working hard. I doubt that any Haitian wants charity. We are not looking for charity. We just want to have the opportunity to have a system that allows us to be able to use our intellect, to be able to use our hard work, to be able to use our resilience, and to be able to provide for our loved ones, and be able to know that we live in a country that protects human rights. And so we've had some of those challenges, which is what's currently happening in Haiti. But at the end of the day, Haiti is a beautiful country with beautiful people who want the same thing that everyone wants for their family.
Thank you so much for eloquently, giving us that insight. And it's very, very important that we know some of these things, especially from people who are from it, who have lived it, and have seen the differences both there in the diaspora. Daphne, no, not Daphne, Anastasie. I wanted to get Anastasie's viewpoint on your perspective. I know this is where you live, but when you compare the economy of Haiti maybe 10 years ago and then now, do you perceive changes? Do you think that the country has made progress? Are some of the things that were pertinent to maybe your parents back then, are they still talking about those same things, or are they, insinuating positive changes? What would be your opinion on that?
So I think the opinion on the economy and the political unrest in Haiti has stemmed from international influences since its Independence Day. Okay. So as you may or may not know, the Haitian Revolution took place in 1804, right? It started in 1791 and it went on till 1804, January 1st, when Haiti declared their independence. Since that time, they've had nothing but international communities involving themselves in the business, right? The economics, the political, as well as the economic business of Haiti, because Haiti, quite frankly, is rich in resources, right? They're rich in gold. They had sugar plantations, hence why all the African slaves were brought there in order to work the plantations. I mean, if you look at the past history of Haiti and how it came to be in its economic situation, you can just look to one of the people that they challenged in the revolution and won against, or one of the countries, that they challenged and won against, France. They signed a deal in 1825 to pay back 150 million. And by 1947, they finished off that debt. And then it was just one debt after the next debt after the next debt. None of these debts, of course, were caused by the work that the people were doing or the resources that exist in the country. These were debts that were imposed upon them by the international community. So we're talking about what do we see in the future for economic change in Haiti? The future that we see is it depends on what the international community continues to do. If they allow them to, as Daphne already mentioned, allow them to be entrepreneurs, allow them to govern themselves, allow them in order to economically build for themselves and thrive and continue to show the resilience of the community that they've already had and the culture that they've already had for more than 100 years, of course we can see great things. But if the international community, which is what happened in the assassination of the president, we had, from what I understand, I wasn't there, obviously, but from what I understand, there were mercenaries, right? 26 of these mercenaries came from the country of Colombia, right? 4 of the people that were involved in the incident were naturalized Americans, albeit Haitian descent, but they were naturalized Americans. So those were people that weren't even living in the country anymore, right? These were people that were not even from the country, and they were already imposing their business and their mindset and their thought processes on how the political and economic structures of the country should run. So in the future, I think that we can do great. We can be great because we already know we're great. The problem is, what is the international community going to allow us to do? Will they allow us to engage in free trade with France, United States, and all of these other countries without interfering in our business? Or will they get inside the business? And when I say our, I mean Haiti.
One would like to know, why would the international body interfere in Haiti's affairs? Why would it prevent them from enjoying their sovereignty and continuing with their development? Well, I would wonder, okay, why Haiti?
So everybody wants you to believe the narrative that Haiti is a poor country. It's not. They've got oil, everybody knows it. They've got gold, everybody knows it. The sugar plantations, the banana plantations, the coffee plantations, most of the Starbucks coffee that you drink actually comes from Haiti, but they say Colombia or someplace else. Let's be honest. Haiti is rich in resources, and people who want those resources want power to control it. So that is why they're not allowing them to be a sovereign nation. Okay. They want the power to control those resources.
How sure are you that the coffee that you just referred to, you mentioned a lot of resources that Haiti has, which is true. But what I'm saying is, well, I think what I want you to clarify is that you also mentioned that,
some of the coffee that you drink at Starbucks comes from Haiti.
And they say it's Colombia.
Instead of Colombia, right.
But so how can you authenticate that? Why do you say that?
Why do I say that? Well, you can Google it, you know what I'm saying? But if you Google it, you'll see that some of the companies purchase their coffee from us, right, in Haiti, and they repackage it. So when you're getting Starbucks coffee, in effect, you're not necessarily getting Starbucks coffee because Starbucks doesn't have plantations per se. They're purchasing it and putting it in their own packaging. So for example, did you know that Haiti had rum? Did you know that Haiti had beer? Just like Puerto Rico, they've got rum and they've got beer. So all the things that you have in the United States are all the same things that you have in Haiti. The only thing is the Haitian beer.
No. What we are like, how you have, we know Corona, it's Mexico has,
right? Exactly. Yeah. Go ahead, Daphne. What's the Haitian? I'm gonna go Barbancourt for the rum, Daphne.
Barbancourt.
If you're in Florida, the yellow boxes that you see, a lot of the Haitian passengers carrying all over, and especially when they come to Chicago, that's the Haitian rum, right? Those are the yellow boxes of the Haitian rum. And what is the beer?
It's called Barbancourt.
Barbancourt.
Okay. And there was a beer, Daphne.
So the one is Barbancourt. The beer, I don't drink. I can't. My husband can first. I could tell you.
You know what?
Well, this is the thing. It's not as important as what I'm saying about.
No, of course.
It is that Alinco needs to understand about Haiti and the political and economic conditions of Haiti. Haiti is a nation that can be sovereign, but people want to interfere. And the reason why they want to interfere is because everything that you have in the United States, first world country world, they have in this quote unquote third world country. But they want you to believe the narrative, right? In my opinion, they want you to believe the narrative that they can't govern themselves. They can't do things by themselves. They can't do anything by themselves. And therefore, we need to come over and help. And as Daphne said, we don't really need your charity. Haitians have always had the pride that we don't need your charity. What we need is unity. And that is why underneath the flag of Haiti, I'm not sure if you've seen it, but it says l'union fait la force, right? Unity brings strength. And that's always been the motto of Haitians, right? If we come together as a community, which is what we've been doing here in Chicago, coming together as a community to support and uplift people who are dealing with this tragedy and this trauma, right? This trauma from not only hearing about other people coming into their homeland, but also trying to take charge. we're also dealing with the trauma of, gosh, constantly having to defend us.
Yeah.
We're always defending ourselves. We're always trying to tell people we're not poor. You know, even though you want to keep calling us the poorest country in the Western, we're not poor, right? We've survived over 200 years and we're still not poor.
100 years.
You know, it's just it's a difficult situation for the people that live here as well as the people that live there.
No, thanks so much for sharing. Everything you've said is on point and are very, very important for us to know. For me, the most important ones were the beer and the rum.
Prestige, lager, yeah.
No, I'm just.
It's prestige.
Yeah, I was like, Daphne, how do you not know the beer? Prestige. And then
I don't drink.
No, I was joking by saying it was the most important point that you made. I just wanted to get the names because it's just to know, right? Just to know. But thank you so much for sharing that information. Soraya,
I have to say though, I think what you're missing out is that Haiti is known for its incredible art.
That too.
Yes.
Right.
Some of the greatest artists have come out of Haiti.
Soraya, you know what? I wanted to mention that earlier because we're trying to build a monument here in Chicago. I'm not sure if you know, but one of the founders of Chicago is Jean-Baptiste Pointe-du-Sable, who came from
I'm aware of that.
Oh, you're aware? Oh, wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're trying to find Haitian sculptors and artists to get this done. And it's been actually pretty difficult. I think we're facing the same situation where on the ground local artists are harder to contact as opposed to the entrepreneurs that you had mentioned. So
I may be able to put you in touch with somebody that has done a lot of work for Haitian artists, and you may already know him.
What's his name?
I must go back to my notes.
Oh, no problem.
I know him.
We will talk offline, but I wanted you to know.
Yes.
As you can see, I have Haitian artwork behind me.
Yeah. I had the distinct privilege of actually.
Can we?
Oh yeah. Here.
That's cute. Yeah.
And I've been to Haiti many times.
Dance, music.
I've been to Poland, Cap-Haïtien, Cité de Carton.
Oh.
Okay.
Met with many artists.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, Bernard Séjourné.
All right. Okay. Soraya. Okay. So would have you give us a lot of the Haiti stories?
Ready to go.
Soraya, she's quite troubled. I'm still learning now, but we know we have a very thriving Haitian community, and so during the show, Anastasie and Daphne, I would like you all to, we would like to get into some of the things you have been doing in the community, how vibrant it is, and challenges and whatnot, and so maybe some of the events coming up, like you said. I know we be working with the BHM folks. We got a DuSable situation. Lakeshore now is going to be named after DuSable, actually, and so that has been settled. And so it's very important that we, the founder of the city of Chicago, and what he contributed to the city and what is happening in his country now, his native country now, Haiti, and couple it, kind of blending it with trending events, in South Africa. And so please make sure you are sharing the feed if you're watching us on Facebook and YouTube, so we can all, participate in these conversations that are very dear to us. And Soraya, I was going to ask you, you mentioned that you made a promise to ex-president, Nelson Mandela, the only Nelson Mandela. How was that? How did that interaction come about? Did you meet him in Chicago? Did you meet him in South Africa? What were you doing at the time?
Okay, so when I was in South Africa, I worked with and on the Free Nelson Mandela campaign. Okay. And many of our friends were
ask what?
Mainly to force the government to release him.
What position were you in? Were you just a regular folks, or you were?
No. We were just everyday people fighting in the struggle to bring awareness to that we want him freed. And I worked for the largest Black newspaper in the country, and my role every week was to make sure those advertisements got into the paper. And did you know that if you place the image of Nelson Mandela, was illegal, it was treasonous, and secondly, when they started to allow it, they were only allowing a picture with his eyes stripped out.
Wow. Can you show the name of that newspaper organization you were working with?
It was City Press.
City Press, okay.
Yeah, the largest, and it was subsidized by the South African racist regime at the time. However, they covered Black stories. And so I was able to get those ads in and got involved. And that really was where my awakening started. And in fact, the first time I saw an actual picture of Nelson Mandela was when I was 24.
Okay.
Up to that point, it was bad. So when he was I left the country, I came into exile. So when I was told by the government, the South African government, while I was living in DC, the embassy called and said, if he wanted to, he wants to meet all exiles. And we were all able to get State Department clearance and met with him in a small hotel room where he spoke to all the exiles. And he asked us all to make a promise and a pledge that we will go home and we'll make a difference for our country.
Wow.
And that's when I made a promise. I didn't know what I was going to do because I was, I just arrived on the shores of the United States, and I didn't know what it would be like to return home at the time because exiles weren't yet returning to South Africa. And that's how my journey started. So when I made that decision to go back and look at what it was I wanted to do, I discovered art is a passion of mine. And it came to me really the stories of artists and what they were dealing with in terms of they will produce all this great work. And under apartheid, the artists could not exhibit their work in the galleries. They couldn't mix with whites. So their work would be on show, but not them. And in many cases, their art would make it to the shows and make a fortune on it, but they rarely ever got to see a good chunk of that money. And many artists died poor and never being known. So I made a decision. I think this is an area I really think I can work with. And that's where I've been since.
You said you were in exile, and why did you have to be in exile?
Okay, so I got involved with politically, and I'm not going to go into too much detail. Okay. And as a result, anyone who was under constant surveillance and a threat. You would go to jail, there'd be no trial, and in many cases you disappear.
Right.
So many of our friends disappeared, and many of them were never reappeared. So I had children and I wanted to move on and get out. So I did that. And I always knew I wanted to do something when I got enough knowledge to go back and do something. So it's what I'm doing now.
We are very fortunate to have someone who had met Nelson Mandela face to face. So, and we have read and seen stories, all types of movies. People have done movies on him. You met this man. Can you share something that we probably haven't seen or heard about this legend?
My word. I mean, when you grow up believing that this man is a monster, all your life growing up that he was, if he's released, our country would go into, decay and anarchy and whatever. And just this monster. And then when you meet him, it was like, it's like meeting someone the most humble person, the most angelic, kind person, a person who has obviously carried the weight of our country on his shoulders for a very long time. And you almost feel like you have a responsibility to unburden him. And in those promises that, our country had a brain drain. I call it leaving the crime scene. And we had a responsibility, those of us who were able to get out and become educated or to get, enlighten ourselves to go back and help develop the country. And that, he spoke to at least about 50 of us. It wasn't like it was just me, it was us. And as a collective, we all, walked away knowing that we had a country to go back to, because when I left, I didn't think I'd ever go back because I made a promise that I won't return until he's released, and everybody thought it was never going to happen. Then I said, well, then I'm never coming back. So, because you grow up in a racist apartheid and you're not accepted as one as this is not your home. You aren't given the same opportunities, the same privileges, and people look at me and they wonder what I am.
Right.
But I grew up under the apartheid system. I didn't have it as bad as anyone who is actually Black, but I took sides, and I chose the side that I was going to fight them wherever I found them, and I was going to stand up for the injustice and the racism. And I've done that, and I still do it after what we just went through here with Trump.
Wow. Thank you again for sharing. Listeners, we ask that you bear with us. The conversation is not about Nelson Mandela today. That's not a topic, but it's very important that we try to hear from the person who has met this man personally and share some of these things that when we were young, we would see watch apartheid on TV and all the struggle and the pain that people were going through. In America, we didn't get the chance to see how slavery and all of that was going on here. And you've lived in both worlds. I'm not sure you experienced slavery. I mean, literally, slavery here. But can you give us a comparison, as to how both were and how we have come so far as a people?
And I hope I captured your question. But for me, I was blessed to have had a mom who raised us without race. And I grew up in a township with my grandmother. And you've seen those townships, no water, no electricity. I grew up like that. I grew up with our people. And I saw and I lived that life, poor life. So I know what that's like. And so I also know what it took for me to get out of there, right? And I always had an interest in the American story. I discovered it through a book that was actually banned in South Africa called Jubilee about slavery. And that book touched me so much. And I made a decision that I was, as a young child, I was going to fight for justice because this was wrong. Like I knew this was wrong. So I've always made the African-American story was my story. So when I think about it today, I came to America not because of white America. I came to America because of what Black America represented to me. They represented what's possible for people like us who are oppressed.
Wow.
Because they were able to come through all that. And in spite of it, like they say, they're still struggling. And I didn't realize just how deeply wounded and rooted this ugly head of racism is still haunting white Americans. They are the ones that are diseased by this thing. And we have to recognize that. We are the ones who have to make sure that we are protected by what their emotional baggage that they carry, because that's their disease, not ours. Yeah. So I came here and I came to give my kids an opportunity I would never have had, my girls. But my African-American son, I had to send him to South Africa because I didn't feel it was safe for him to live here. Wow. So I've been without my Black son because of my concern for his safety, believe it or not. And he has more freedom and expression and opportunities than I think he would ever have here.
Wow.
Without the baggage.
Wow. Thank you again for sharing. Yes, you captured the question very well. And thanks for the response, because sometimes when we wonder, did apartheid, is apartheid as, it did affect Black people as it's affected Black people here. I mean, we're trying to see if we can compare the two and see if they are the same wavelength. And sometimes, you were shaking your head. What is that?
No, not really the same. Because you see, I came on a flight here. I wasn't brought here. Okay. I wasn't uprooted from my village and brought here, right? I came by choice.
But in terms of the torture that people had to endure.
Okay.
The treatment.
Very different. Because the Blacks of South Africa, there's an argument as to whether they're originally from there because we've got the core and all that other stuff they're trying to work out. I know that my ancestors were brought as slaves from Asia. Okay. Am I traumatized by all of that? We have our baggage. Believe me, I know that we are We are all traumatized. We are all dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder. But I think for the African American experience, I mean, these people have lost their identity. Like, which village, which chief, which town, which community, which stories did I grow up with, which religion, which sounds, which drums? We don't have that.
Absolutely. No. Wow. Thank you for sharing. And again, it goes to the point and some of the conversations that we've tried to have on this platform about the importance of the diaspora working together. You know, Caribbeans. Go ahead.
I was going to say, let me piggyback off of that. Actually, Haiti did come through the African transatlantic slave, like the transatlantic slave. Right. But we were able, SORAYA, to keep a lot of our traditions, right? Mm-hmm. Many of our cultural traditions, many of our community. In fact, they were, I was watching an episode today of Blue Bloods, and the episode was talking about Haitians and the distinction between voodoo and voodoo, you know, and I laugh every time because, you know, most of the country is Catholic, right? Mm-hmm. So when you think about what is it that we brought to the country, what is it that we were able to preserve, what is it that we're able to build upon based on the outward influences, right? Let me put it that way, right? Mm-hmm. Because of our last names, right? Some of the things that we're able to transcend into the United States. So for example, I think just before we got on this call, I was saying that my last name is a slave master's name, right? I don't know what my African original family name is, but I know that the French version of my name is coming from the French influences on the African communities that were brought into that tiny country, right? Mm-hmm. So when we think about some of the things that happened in South Africa, I understand, right? We've kept a lot of our traditions. And I think a lot of my African-American friends have also said that about Caribbeans. When it comes to Africans and Caribbeans, we tend to be more connected because we do have that sense of memory and positive memory, right? With our culture and our community. We have some of these traditions. But I want to say, if there's any African-Americans listening, you have it too. You may not know you have it, but you have a lot of it, and we try to replicate it as often as possible. Hip hop is all African American.
All right.
Jazz, right? Jazz, the Harlem Renaissance. There are so many great things that come out of the United States from the Black people here in the United States that the African American community should be proud of as well. Wow. So I wanted to say, yes, we all
absolutely, and it's a unique culture to them. It is theirs. There's nowhere in the planet, nowhere on the continent that anyone can duplicate that. That is uniquely African American, and even more so, different cities and states. They have their flavors, and I know that they inspired me.
Right.
African
hip hop. Hearing from Ghana, I'm sure Alinco can tell us. Hip hop artists that are in Ghana, right?
Yeah.
African American has inspired Africa for as long as I can remember. Their music. I mean, there was a story in South Africa where Nat King Cole's music was so well adored by a white South African until she found out he was Black, and she destroyed her entire collection. But I'm telling you, that is how powerful. Yeah. And I grew up with all of them.
And you know what's so funny, SORAYA? If you've ever seen the movie Get Out of Compton, right, with Ice Cube,
I did.
Actually, the NWA was like, look, in order for them to destroy the CDs, they first had to buy them anyway. So Nat King Cole got paid before that white lady destroyed
it. Yeah.
No, you're right. The question you posed earlier, Anastasie, yes. And wow, it's powerful. It's powerful that you guys are sharing and speaking to the exact words that we've been trying to send across, you know, especially in the African community on this platform. That there's a need for us to recognize the strength, the culture of the African American, and so that we don't, because there's a tendency for us to, you know, act a certain way towards the African American community based off our, you know, culture, based off our knowledge of them, you know, and all of that. And so this has been the awareness, and you guys are just nailing it on the head, you know, word to word, what exactly the story is. African American has influenced the world. I think I see them as they are very special group of people. Like with like I think they're the most for me they're the most phenomenal people in the world based off the history and what they've been able to achieve for themselves and for this country, you know, and how they've influenced the entire world with with pop culture. And you're right, Ghana.
You can't go anywhere in the world and not know who Martin Luther King is.
There is
go anywhere in the world and not know who President Barack Obama is. And we know he has roots to Kenya.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere in the world and not know who Meghan Markle is.
Yeah.
African Americans have been paving the way
for us.
Yes, for all of us. Light black people and dark black people. Right?
Absolutely. And I was going to say there is no musician or musician in Africa who has blown out, you know, let me say, you know, when it comes to recent generation that has, you know, gotten up there without infusing of pop culture in their craft. Right. And I can speak to Ghana, you know, all the hip hop artists, I mean, all the, you know, music artists and guys who are trying to make it. It's either they use the mannerisms or they use the verbiage or they use a style. It's basically pop culture because that is just what is popping. It's culture. Even in Asia, again across the globe, if you are into music entertainment, you have to adopt the pop culture to succeed. If you don't, you know, who's gonna be you know, interested in your craft. And so. And that's just one piece, right? That is just one piece of their influence in this globe. And we are not talking about sports. We're not talking, like you mentioned, politics, you know, the Martin Luther Kings, the Reverend Jesse Jacksons, and how they've all affected this world and impacted our globe. So you're right. You know, awesome group of people, and they deserve all the respect. And you're right. And so these are some of the things we ought to be doing so we can integrate. Can you imagine Caribbeans, African Americans coming together and working together very well?
And you know what? That's so funny that you mentioned that, Alinko, because in the United States, as you know, I'm an attorney, but if you look at our law books, back in the 1800s, there was an international law that banned human trafficking here in the United States. Okay. And the reason why is because of the Haitian Revolution. They honestly thought, the white men that were ruling the nation at the time and creating the laws, they thought the energy, the spirit, and the thought, right? The mind, the body, and the spirit of the Haitians slaves that were revolting would get into the mind, body, and spirit of those that were here in the United States. And they didn't want to deal with that. So when you look into American history in Louisiana Purchase, that's an example of how long people have known what happens when we unify ourselves, right? Across the globe. What happens when Black people are like, oh, I saw they do that. So same thing, when Martin Luther King was here fighting for civil rights, they got the same ideal over in there in South Africa. Hey, we don't have to do that. Yeah. And then apartheid was being battled.
Exactly.
So right. I think that you're correct, Alinko. If we can all just listen to ourselves, we can do so much more.
Well, you know what? Our African Americans in this country are the reason, in a big way, played a big role in the end of apartheid. And I really I have such an allegiance to the community, and they stood in. They were arrested. They protested outside the embassy, outside the consulate, free Nelson Mandela. So I'm getting goosebumps just saying that. They fought hard, including Biden. They fought hard to the end for that atrocious system to end.
Wow. And we wouldn't even have Kamala Harris in office if it wasn't for the strength of the African American community. We have a Caribbean in office, right? We have a Caribbean in office. So, and of course, you know, in Illinois, I know you guys all know, the Illinois Attorney General is Haitian.
Yes, Kwame Raoul.
Yes, indeed.
So we owe a lot to the African American community on being able to open our eyes on how we can improve as well, musically, politically, economically, as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to trading, right? We're going to have to figure out how to do this international trade thing because we're struggling in that area. I think you were going to mention there was a hip hop artist that purchased electricity.
Akon,
that's his name. Yes.
Yeah.
So I
He's
think
building
Jay-Z
ATM
mentioned
City.
it. Yeah, Jay-Z mentioned it in one of his things. In order to really build your community, you actually have to invest in your community. So don't just get the money and go into Beverly Hills. Get the money and rebuild your own community.
Right.
So I think Akon was doing that. He
Yeah.
got all this money by being an international star and then went back and started an electric company. So that's what we need to do in Haiti. And I think, Soraya, if you don't mind me saying, I think that needs to happen in South Africa. More of the intellectual population needs to return.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And
Absolutely. But there's something I want to say about that as we continue into this whole thing with what happened with Zuma.
Right. Oh, no. Okay. No, I thought you were going to. Okay. I thought you were going to follow up with what Anastasie said.
I will, but then we have a context for the conversation.
Oh, no. Yes. I just wanted this to flow organically. Okay.
Okay.
No, we're going to.
That's fine. I can go.
We are definitely going to bring it back, but it is. Of course, it wasn't planned, but this is what our platform is for. Okay, it's a community building show, so we interact and make sure that we're having this organic conversation, because these are the things that matter to us. Right? These are the things that are on our hearts, and so we don't have anybody regulating us. We speak our heart and connect with each other. So
all right, then I can answer your question.
Yeah.
Look, Alinco's like, all these women tonight. Oh my God.
You know what?
I would love to add something as soon as I can.
Yes, please,
And you know what, Alinco? What's so funny is America hasn't gotten there yet. But South Africa already had a female president, and Haiti already had a female president. So United States.
No, we did not have a female president.
And Liberia, I think it's Liberia.
Oh, Liberia.
Okay, Africa.
Africa. Yeah, we got it. Daphne, you wanted to say something quickly. Say
yes.
And then Soraya too can go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add to the immigration story, because a lot of times, especially us coming from Haiti, we've been called the boat people. And with my immigration story, it stems from the U.S. did not have enough medical workers during, I believe, the 60s, and then they were looking for medical workers from Haiti to come work in the U.S. And my grandfather's sister's husband, I know it's a lot, my grandfather's sister's husband was a doctor, and they had him come here to work as a nurse. He was working in Cook County from Haiti. And then that's how, obviously, then my aunt, came to the U.S. and what my grandfather, and then my grandfather then immigrated my father, and that's how I'm here. So we came here as a resource to provide help to the nation because of lack of medical care. And going back to Haiti being the first Black nation, the first independent republic, helping all the other different Caribbean and South American countries to get the independence. So definitely that put a dot on Haiti, because we did, so as a country, as a nation, we were able to do something so, I guess, unbelievable. And then now we were spreading that same mindset to other nations, to other people. And so you can see why exactly Haiti might be a concern to different nations. Absolutely. And then so I just wanted to add that part to the conversation.
Man. Thank you for getting our attention. How could we have missed this very important point if you hadn't drawn our attention? You were like, hey, guys, I have to speak. Thank you so much for getting that out. I really appreciate you sharing. Soraya, can you make your point quickly, and then we can.
Okay, so the brain drain. What I found out in my effort to be a part of the solution was, and it was quite gut-wrenching, to be honest with you. So I said, okay, I want to go back. I'm using this as a test. I'm going to go back, and I want to see what's available to me if I, a woman in my age, 50 at the time, want to start something, open up a business. what my experience was in real estate at the time. So I thought, okay, maybe I can open up a brokerage firm and training other women like myself in the business. I went to all the different real estate companies. All of them were white, and none of them really accepted my application except for one, a big name, Sotheby's. I was with Sotheby's here, so we talked for a while, and then I joined them there. But I saw a lot of racism in that. Then I also tried out to start just a company. There was just nothing. There's nothing to support your idea, to nurture your idea, to incubate your idea. And this took me a year. I returned, and in 6 months, I had an idea that I put into action. The idea came from sitting in a cafe, see these artists, talk to these artists, heard it, said, this is what I want to do, went home and put it into action. Right. And the results are here. So I asked myself, why is that? And so for the past years, I kept working, and there's just no support. So I spoke to a woman today, very dear friend of mine. She said, SORAYA, do you know how many businesses have gone down? Nothing to support the businesses, nothing to support women in the businesses. And yes, it comes back to, where's the money going? Right. It comes back to the corruption that has been pervasive within the ANC government.
Okay, so that ushers us into the actual conversation about South Africa, and I'll let you come in on that. Last point that I wanted to add to what Anastasie said earlier, you made reference to voodoo and voodoo, like, the pronunciation. And that's very interesting because my background in Ghana, we call it's voodoo. Voodoo originates from Benin and Togo, Togolese practices, Ghanaian practices. The Ewe people of Ghana practice Volta region, southern part, they practice voodoo, but we call it voodoo. Okay, it's voodoo. My grandmother was a voodoosie, who actually voodoosie means someone who serves in the shrine, for voodoo. So I grew up on this, these things, these things are part of some of the things that we grew up with as Africans. So it's part of the African culture, and these are some of the things that we all can relate, right, as Black people in the diaspora, right? Be you from Caribbean, Haiti. So I just wanted to touch on that. Another quick point that I wanted to make is one thing I also realized, which is why I respect and appreciate and admire the African American community so much and the African American people so much, is that when I came here, I realized that every single application that I had to do or grant or whatever, there was not a portion for African or Ghana. I had to apply as Black or African American. So in my mind, I'm like, wow, what if they had not paved the way? How would I have been able to get into school, get my grants, apply for certain things, all those benefits that I get from this country, And again, it's the people that fought, shed blood, sacrificed in the midst of adversities, and have gotten us, some of us as immigrants coming here, African immigrants coming here, to literally benefit off of all this toil. And so it's something that I acknowledge, and I hope that people within the community, within the African community, would also understand and get to grasp. I'm not saying all of us do not, but it seems as though when you talk to a lot of people, we don't seem to grasp some of these things well. And so it's very important that we probably start looking at it from this perspective. It may help us assimilate and relate better as diasporans as Africans in the diaspora. So just wanted to add that real quick. But this will take us to the conversation, the topics that we wanted to get into today, which is current issues going on in Haiti and South Africa. You have been watching the Progressive Mind Show. It's 7:11 p.m. CST. We are still here in the beautiful city of Chicago. This is where we build our community. So feel free to share your opinion, your comment. You can call in 815-277-5047. to ask a question or contribute to what we're doing. Also share the feed on Facebook and on YouTube. One thing that I always want to, we don't do this much. We don't do this as much as we should. So I've been advised to do this. We need your support. Okay, this is a not-for-profit organization, and everything we do is self-funding. And so we would appreciate your contribution on our website, theprogressivemindsshow.com. Theprogressivemindsshow.com. If you Google it, it comes up, because whatever you donate to us is tax deductible, and we put it to this production and towards the work that we're trying to do for our community. We appreciate your contribution so far. For those of you who have supported, we really want to thank you for doing so. The conversation continues, but we want to take our audience who have been commenting and following the Discord so far. This is from Tony Anderson. He says, the acknowledgement of our work here is so underappreciated and undervalued and misunderstood. Thank you so much, Tony, for your comment. And that is why these beautiful ladies are trying to create that awareness. See, we're not saying this because we just love to talk about it. Yes, we believe it, and we are also saying it so we can sensitize folks who may not value, the work. And so you're spot on, and we all have to work to create that awareness. So thank you so much for that comment, Tony. Thank you, love. She said, greetings all. And this is from Tracy. Great history being discussed. Yes. I think that was when SORAYA was giving us all this deep history. So kudos to you, SORAYA and ANASTASIE.
Oh, it's a word in Afrikaans. It's called darling.
Okay.
Watching your show, darling. Powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a word in Afrikaans.
Scuttable. Okay. Tracy says, great. Okay, I think we got that already. We got Melvin Mullen. Okay. And we got Collins and Kobia says, thanks to the panel. He says, very inclusive and educational discussion. Thank you so much, Collins, for your comment. Thank you, SORAYA and ANASTASIE Sena. Actually, her name, you guys don't know, but ANASTASIE has similar name to mine. Okay, so she could be my cousin.
It's possible. Actually, I was thinking about saying that when you were talking about Ghana and the voodoo.
Oh, look at that! See, so
thank you, Tavana.
That's where most of our people come, is West Africa. So
yes. Thank you. So thank you. This is for Tivona J. Johnson. Thank you, SORAYA. Okay, yeah, I think we got that. And this is from let's see here. We are all the same people. Simba Kushida. Thank you. This is a wonderful show, Simba. Thank you. And this is from, thank you, Alinko, for being a host that dares to have different conversations covering truth on various matters. Thank you so much, Tivana. The names, I'll be struggling with names, so I hope Tivana. Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you for your contribution. We really appreciate it. Your support is very appreciated. So we want to say that. As Steven is saying, listening live from Ghana, Kumasi, I'm enjoying the show. Yeah, okay. Asti, he's a great guy. He does all our graphics, and so you see them. I'll be playing a little bit of them when we go on a break. Great guy. If you want graphic work done, you know who to contact. This is from Anastasia. This is Anastasia. I may be able to connect with you. Someone in Detroit area may have support in you in finding Haitian artists. SORAYA can connect us or find me on Facebook, Vicky Parker, Chicago. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Vicky, my buddy.
Thank you, Vicky. I look forward to connecting with you.
Thank you so much, Vicky, for that. And then that was another one from Tivana, and this is from Kevin Vaden. I think. Wow, this is from Leah's pack. And all right, so that has been the comments so far. Please keep them coming in, and you can also ring to share your opinion, ask a question, or contribute. This is from Francisca. Let's get this this one real quick. Good job. God bless you all. Thank you so much, Francisca, for chiming in. So, SORAYA, your turn now. Give us, yeah. I say your turn like you haven't. But Jacob Zuma has been arrested. A lot of us, people literally have to read why he was arrested. But you may have more insight than we do. Why was he arrested?
Okay. So Jacob Zuma was arrested for contempt of court.
Okay.
Jacob Zuma was to appear in front of a commission investigating the state capture charges against him and the corruption charges against him. And he refused to appear in front of the courts. And as a result, they decided that they have to, hold him in contempt. And he was to arrive in prison for 15 months. And he decided he was not going to do that. He held out in his compound. He calls a palace. I called it looted money that built that compound. And he held out for a few days, and all his supporters were protesting, and the police were unable to get access to him. And eventually, he decided, he made a decision to go and hand himself in. And once he did that, people close to him, his supporters and his inner circle, had instigated or had already put in place an insurrection. And they used social media tactics, much like what happened here on January 6th. Was it? Yeah, gosh. Anyway, what happened here? And they went about. First, they went to all the warehouses and looted and destroyed and burnt as a way to destroy our economy, as a way to undermine the current administration. And then they went ahead and just went for a free-for-all all over the KwaZulu-Natal area, which is where his base is from.
Okay.
And then it led to Gauteng, which is where I'm from, the more commercial part of South Africa.
Okay.
And then it just, unraveled.
Great. Thanks for giving us that brief background. We'll take a short commercial break. When we come back, we'd like you to help us understand who Zuma is. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know he's been arrested. You've given us a reason why, but of course he's a past president. But the significance of this man, Jacob Zuma, to South Africa, and maybe a little bit background of the political parties in South Africa. I think that would give us, help us understand why people are looting and why even his arrest is causing this type of unrest in the country, South Africa. So we will take this short break. When we come back, the discussion on Haiti and South Africa continues. This is the Progressive Mind Show. We shall be right back after the short break. Welcome back. The Progressive Mind Show. Again, we're encouraging you to visit our website, theprogressivemindshow.com or thepmsshow.com, and support us so we can keep bringing you these topical issues week in, week out. We are here every Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. and on Sundays, 2 to 4. This is where Sundays versions are, where we literally try to connect the diaspora and Africa. We call it Finding the Balance. So make sure you can join us on Sundays 2 to 4 so we can all build our community together. The Cash App to support us is the $ SENA, SENAALINCO. Mine is not SENAT like Anastasie. Mine is without a T. It's the $ SENAALINCO. You can make your Cash App donation to us. Again, it goes a long way in supporting what we're doing. So, Soraya, what are the two main political parties in South? I mean, not two, but the main political parties in South Africa, and where does Jacob Zuma, which of the parties does he belong?
Okay, so the main party, the governing party, is the African National Congress,
Okay.
the ANC. The party that brought our country to liberation from the apartheid regime. That was Nelson Mandela's ANC. Oliver Tambo's ANC.
Did he form the party, Nelson Mandela?
No, I don't believe so. And that takes me a whole lot deeper into the history.
I understand. No, for the benefit of some people who may not understand, have a good understanding of what we're doing. So thank you. He didn't. But
yeah. I believe this was Nelson Mandela's party with all the others who fought against the racist regime of the apartheid government, right?
Okay.
So and so when Nelson Mandela was our first president, and of course his ailing health and his aging, Thabo Mbeki took over from him.
Yeah.
And then Jacob Zuma came into power. I believe from the very beginning, Jacob Zuma has been, involved in all kinds of illegal dealings, from the arms deal that's still being investigated. Some people involved in the arms deal were sent to jail, from state capture, from 500 billion rand missing from our coffers. The man has been investigated and they found all kinds of wrongdoing. And eventually the people got really, really tired of Jacob Zuma, and he, in the election after that, Cyril Ramaphosa came into power.
Okay.
Of all the three, the only two that really spent time on the ground throughout the struggle was Nelson Mandela on the island and Cyril Ramaphosa in the country. Of all of them, I have more respect for Cyril Ramaphosa. And of course, we all love Nelson Mandela. But yeah, that's where we are now.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. And I want to, Daphne, we wanted to get your opinion. I know we haven't gotten you to share your thoughts on some of the things that we have discussed so far. Which you chimed in, but wanted to know that as it is in Haiti, what do you think that the people of Haiti? First of all, I know that there were protests in the streets, right? People were protesting. Some of the reasons for the protests were that the president wanted to basically change the law so he can run for another term when he was not supposed to. Is there any truth to any of these rumors? Maybe you can speak to some of the reasons why the protest was going on, and maybe comment on this particular statement with regards to the president trying to extend his power.
Yeah, so I wouldn't have much details in regarding to the specific as we got to the protests, but based on what I've heard from family members, from friends, as well as from the media, is some of the people in Haiti was saying that the president term had ended, and then so therefore they wanted him to remove himself from being president. And so some believe that his term came to an end. However, he believed that he still had 1 more year, so which means that he had to leave office in 2022. Based on what I've read from different news sources, the international community has in fact agreed with him that he was elected in 2016, but then he got into power in 2017. And so Haitian presidency runs for 5 years. So technically from 2017, 5 years will be 2022. Some agree 2022, some agree 2021. And so that could be one of the reasons as to why some of the protests could have been. However, at the end of the day, the everyday Haitian just want the opportunity to live in a safe country. They just want compassion. So right now, what Haiti needs is compassion. That means compassion for the current elected leaders. That means compassion from local and international media. That means compassion, as Ms. Attorney Senat stated, from the international community, so that we can all live a life where we can have a country to go to, even the diaspora. And so many people in Haiti have family living in the US or Canada and for different countries outside of Haiti who support them. Okay, so I have family in Haiti. And so therefore, when we are here, we are working, we are helping our loved ones. We would love to be able to go back to the country and not only have some good time, but also invest in different aspects in the community, have businesses, and then so also compassion from the Haitian system that to allow entrepreneurs to go to Haiti, to be able to have businesses, to be able to feel safe, and to be able to visit their loved ones. And then so I believe as a people, as a nation, if we can extend compassion to one another, where we can live in unity, where we can live in harmony, what Haiti is going to right now is solvable. It is not an end all be all for Haiti. There is hope that Haitians are resilient. The people have been living to the best of their ability, and they will continue to thrive. And then so we just need to be able to be compassionate to one another, so that the diaspora community can have businesses. The people in Haiti can have businesses. My aunt, she lives in Haiti, and right now she just stays home because if you go outside, there is shooting. And then so obviously she's afraid for her life, and a lot of people are afraid for their life. And I believe a lot of kids last year did not finish the school year. And then so those kids need compassion.
Why are they shooting?
It's the same reason why they're shooting in Chicago. Sometimes people just do bad things.
Okay. No.
It's not all because we're Haitian and that's why we shoot. We're not a violent people.
No.
I want to jump in there. That was a good question.
No, that was
they shoot. And I want to say where she's living, where her aunt is living.
Okay, I was going to ask Daphne a question. Anastasia, I put it on mute because I wanted to get the question out.
But I wanted to correct that where her aunt is living and where my uncle lives. My uncle's not living around where there's violent shooting.
Wait.
So Haiti is like Chicago. You can go one block and then there could be violence.
No. That's not the point. That is not.
So I don't want that narrative out there.
I wasn't putting a narrative out there. I was asking a question. Would you allow me to ask the question, please? Okay.
Sure.
Okay, good. So, Daphne, you made a point about you should give us an insight to what is going on. Thank you so much for sharing. And you also, for me, when you said, "Oh, your auntie can go out and you go to shooting," what I'm trying to find out is that is that shooting on the streets just like it is in South Africa? Because I know South Africa there's unrest, right? There's looting, there's chaos right now because Jacob Zuma was arrested. Now, is the shooting in Haiti you mentioned going on as a result of maybe the president being assassinated? So maybe his supporters are on the street. and they're having a clash with the local police. Like, why is there shooting? And I wanted you to help us understand. That's the point I was trying to make. So if Daphne, if you can help us just break that down.
And then, so as we stated before, Haiti is over 200 years old. And then so Haiti have only spent maybe 31 years being a democracy. So we are a new democracy. So Haiti has, I guess, have always had different challenges when it comes to having coup d'etats, when it comes to maybe different people have different belief of different presidents. And so there's always been kind of like political unrest. But as Ms. Sena is stating that Haiti is a country, so there's different communities, and we want to reiterate that it's not the whole country that is facing this issue.
No.
And so, yeah.
No, thank you so much again for explaining, because for everyone listening, somebody, when you said, oh, my auntie can go out because they're shooting, we just wanted to clarify that, right? And we understand in every society, exactly. In Ghana, Nigeria, anywhere you go, like again, you mentioned city of Chicago, everywhere, there's violence everywhere. So if, she can go out as a result of some of the, ills, some of the struggles that the community is facing, yes, that's understood. As we, again, just wanted to clarify that it's not as a result of the assassination of the president and his supporters or people just going on the street and causing mayhem or causing chaos. So that is not the reason why they're shooting, but it's just
I want to know the details of that, exactly.
Okay. Thank you so much for clarifying that. What I was saying, Soraya, so right now there's looting in South Africa.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody will also say that, can you speak to, I know this is not a platform, but can you speak to the issue of xenophobia quickly? And,
okay.
And then, maybe give us an update on the looting and how the government is trying to curb that situation.
Okay. So the xenophobia, when the country opened up, or when the country went from oppression to freedom,
okay,
the borders opened up. Prior to that, the apartheid government was very, very strict on who can come in. And of course, we had sanctions, so many countries were not coming to South Africa, and many of us couldn't go to those countries. When things opened up, the floodgates opened up, and we had a lot of illegal immigration. And we had, people who came with real issues from within their countries, and there are those who came and sought opportunities, and some who used the legal and right. Mm-hmm. But what been my argument all along, we did not have opportunities under the apartheid regime, okay, as people of color. Mm-hmm. So now we've got Africans from other countries who are definitely far off in terms of their education, their sophistication. They are more progressive because they didn't have this oppressive system over them. And they come with all that to South Africa, making them a lot more attractive to employees. Mm-hmm. And as a result, a lot of jobs were filled. And our own South Africans, either whether they have the skill or not, were not getting those opportunities. That for me was a problem.
Okay.
Not a xenophobic problem, but why are we not taking care of a problem we haven't even clearly defined since taking power?
Right.
So our South African people got very angry, some of them, and decided they were going to attack. Because you see a guy coming from another country, Nigeria, and in 1 year he's got a house, in 1 year he's got a business, in 1 year he's got a car. How on earth does that happen?
Okay.
And that's where some of this anger started to develop. And so people started just taking to the streets and destroying those businesses because government wasn't doing anything to manage the situation that South Africans were in. Poor, undereducated, underpaid, and underrepresented by a corrupt government.
Okay. So yeah, okay. So that we don't get too much into the xenophobia issue, maybe on another platform we can go deeper. Reason why I ask is that a lot of Africans are showing some type of apathy towards the looting in South Africa. Oh, because yeah, you guys, were doing this to other Africans, recently, right? And so now that you are going through, this whole situation, well, we don't, you know what I'm saying? So that apathy is within some of the Africans, and they talk about it. And so that's why I wanted to bring it in. And so thanks for clarifying. Thanks for explaining why, where this all stemmed from. And we hope that we haven't heard about it, but every so often, maybe after every 3 or 4 years, we'll hear a xenophobia situation going on and all of that. We hope that it does not continue, because it does not augur well for the unity of Africa and for the working together of our people. And so
Right.
on another platform, we can discuss that. So current looting, how is the government helping to curb the situation?
Okay. So the current loot, now just so you know, we are the capital of protests in the world. We really are.
It's
a culture. They'll protest for everything. And the sad thing is, they'll protest and they'll burn schools. They'll protest and they'll burn factories. They'll protest and they'll burn libraries. They'll protest and they'll burn universities. I have no idea what this is, and it destroys.
Do you think that is a culture that stemmed from the apartheid?
Absolutely. 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 And government isn't listening. The powers aren't listening. And so people take to those extreme measures to be heard. So
what do you think can be done to curb it? I mean, in your opinion?
I don't know. I think, we know that this whole thing of poverty has never been addressed, not from apartheid, not from Nelson Mandela, not from Zuma, and not even from this guy who's in power, Ramaphosa. It is a huge problem. We've got 43% unemployment.
You mentioned maybe not even Nelson Mandela, because the whole world and a lot of Africans think, Nelson Mandela,
Nelson Mandela didn't have enough time to do all that he wanted to do. Okay, let's be fair. Okay. And the people that he put in charge is not the same people running the country today. Gotcha. Today we've got criminals running our country. I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
We've got people who are corrupt. We have people who have done horrible things, and people who are not being held accountable for the money that they have stolen, continue to steal, or mismanage. I mean, you can't even keep the lights on in South Africa.
Which part of South Africa are you talking about? Because a lot of people know that.
We're talking, the whole of South Africa is impacted by the government and its performance. But the area that was looted was in the KwaZulu-Natal area.
Yeah, but
the Johannesburg area.
Because South Africa is presumed to be a very wealthy nation, thriving, developed economy, and all of that.
Yeah, but you know what? So is the Congo. So is so many countries. Look at what happens in those countries. It's the same rotten leadership wherever you go. Come on.
But Congo is not.
Lady.
Yeah, Congo is not as developed as South Africa. I mean, economically,
we're not. No, but you know what? We're slowly becoming a banana republic.
Okay.
We really are. We are dipping and dipping. And I tell you, after COVID of 1 year, now we've got a third wave that's killed about thousands of people. Okay. I mean, people are dying like flies right now as we speak.
Wow.
During this COVID pandemic, we go and have a guy who decides, you know what, go out there, loot. We're going to destroy this country even further. He can't love South Africa. He loves himself.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. Daphne, you made a point earlier, and I'm going to, Anastasia, I want to ask you the efforts being made by HALA. I also earlier mentioned that we'd like to know the status of the Haitian community in Chicago, the challenges and, some events coming. So maybe Anastasia can help us, understand that. But Daphne, what exactly, I know you do benevolent work in Haiti. What exactly is it? Yeah.
So right now, my mom is a pastor. She has a church in Haiti, and I am in connection with a Haitian pastor as well, who who has a church and who also help his community.
Yeah.
And so Haiti has always been dear to my heart. And as I stated, even though some of the work that we do involve with helping the community start businesses, go and help with the children with the school supplies and help with the schools. And then so when I went to Haiti in 2014, I actually went to one of the churches with the pastor in Haiti to help with that. But now my major mission right now is to help people in Haiti, as well as current entrepreneurs, to have funds to launch their business or to even continue their businesses. Because at the end of the day, Haiti need business owners, Haiti need entrepreneurs, people who can have ideas, who can implement the ideas, who have resources to implement the ideas, which will also create employment. Right. Because if we have businesses, then hopefully those businesses will grow, and then they will be able to hire individuals who can work at those businesses. And then so that's my focus right now, to connect entrepreneurs in ways that they can help different entrepreneurs in Haiti to either launch or support their current business.
Thank you so much for sharing. Anastasie, so HALA and is HALA separate from, firstly, is there like a Haitian community where like you have like a president and and you do events? Is there anything like that, like an association apart from HALA?
Alinco, so there's am I allowed to speak? Is my mic on now?
Yeah, we can hear.
I wasn't sure if it was still off.
No.
Yeah, so there are several organizations in the city of Chicago. A lot of them are supporting the Haitian community in various different ways. Many of the community organizations have gotten together in order to host a vigil, a memorial, this Saturday, July 24th, at Boudreaux, the 8233 to 837 Princeton Avenue. It's going to start at 5 p.m. And it's in honor of the life of the president who just passed, Jovenel Moise. So everybody's welcome to attend. There's a registration link that you can find on Daughters of Haiti, who is another organization. We're working with Haitian Congress to Fortify Haiti. We're working with the Haitian Consulate. We're also working with the Haitian American Professional Network, and the Operation SOS is another organization that we're working with. So there's several Haitian organizations that have collaborated in order to pull off this event for Saturday. So we hope that anyone that's listening and has any friends that wants to come and honor the late president and his family, to pay their respects, to show their condolences, to please attend 5 p.m. on Saturday.
Awesome. Is there like a Haitian festival? Do you guys have something like that here in Chicago where maybe, let's say, every year you'll come together collectively, with all these groups, different groups, and you do something as Haiti people? Is there anything like that in Chicago?
I mean, I can answer to that. So as Haitians, we have Mr. Gérald Daye, who lives in Evanston. And every year, he's during July 4th, he had a picnic where Haitians from every part of Chicago, as well as Evanston, will come together to just celebrate being Haitian, to just have some good time. And we have Haitian bands who will be there. However, because of COVID, those past 2 years, he was not able to organize the July 4th picnic. He is, however, doing it this year in August 28th as a back-to-school picnic, where everyone, not only Haitians, from the Haitian community, as well as the Evanston community, can come August 28th. I can just give you the information in a minute because I wasn't prepared for that, but I will let you know. It's going to be in Evanston. It's a back-to-school event for all the organization will be there. All the businesses will be there. So that way we can come together, celebrate each other, and support children going back to school with back-to-school supplies. So if anybody want to be in contact, Mr. Gérald Daye, either you want to sponsor or volunteer or even give some donations for back to school, you can either reach out to me or reach out to him, and then we can give them to the kids. And so everyone is welcome, especially if you're in the Haitian community. Come together because it's our time to get back to normal, to get back to being a community.
Okay, thank you so much for giving us that information, and we will be wrapping up very soon. But want to get this this point out too. No, actually, let me get this question from. Let me get to see if I can get a response from Anastasie regarding HALA. So you are the incoming president, and I want to find out: are there like plans of maybe you may have mentioned it in your earlier submission, but if you can help us, are there plans for HALA to probably do something directly in Haiti, just something similar to what DAPHNEE is doing, like literally, planting things and helping people down there?
Yeah, so HALA has been around since 2008. So not only have we done things locally, but we've also done things in Haiti.
Got it.
Most recently, we were united for Haiti in order to try to build a law school and to help the law students there in Haiti. However, again, we're in the middle of a pandemic. So right now, our concentration and our focus is trying to help the people get their vaccines, because there's a lot of people in Haiti that are unable to get their vaccination. I had mentioned in the chat that one of the things that South Africa and Haiti have been sharing, and a lot of countries of the diaspora have been sharing, is the intellectual brain drain. We do need people to get back. We also share in a little way the lack of a race as a construct, because as Daphne has already mentioned, it's a Black republic. So really, we don't have that problem that they have here in the United States. So when we talk about corrupt leaders and we talk about political unrest or civil unrest, it's not based on the color of your skin per se. It's quite frankly based on the thought process of the person. And so when we think of those things, we have been trying to help with the thought process of the country improving. So we have a lot of members that have been working locally with the city of Chicago in order to build all, as I mentioned earlier, the monument, the Riverwalk, all of those types of things. DuSable Park exists, so we're going to be helping with that. In fact, the chair of the DuSable Park is a member of HALA. And then we also have people that are working with International Children's Hospital, Grace Children's Hospital in Haiti. So we're doing a lot of different things. We have people all over the place doing a lot of different things.
Right.
So our intellect is definitely going back into the country.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you so much. I think that we have tried to cover most of the things that I wanted to touch on today regarding Haiti and South Africa. Pardon us if we weren't able to give you the information that you were looking for, because during the show, we had to touch on some very important things as well. So we will, this is an ongoing thing. We will always get our guests. We can always get our guests back on the show to dive into some of the conversation. But we hope that we've been able to spark at least some awareness. And you can continue the conversations in your various homes, communities. We'll take this comment and try to wrap up tonight's discussion. This is from Angie Mims. No wonder Trevor Noah uses Jacob Zuma in so much of his content during stand-up and discussion panels. It's unfortunate from Mr. Jacob Zuma. Accusations against Goodluck and General Obasanjo. These are men who I consider to be leaders that we can look up to. Even when I interviewed General Obasanjo, I did not pick up what he was accused of. Sincerely, hoping that our leaders in political office can rectify and correct some of these things. Was that rest in highness? Okay, is that what the RIH is for?
That gets to rest in heaven.
Oh, okay, rest in heaven. Okay, thanks for the education. I've never seen this one, so RIP is what is what I'm used to. So no, but Angie, thank you so much for bringing that comment. Very powerful. Well, let's try and get the last comments from our audience as we wrap this discussion. But we just had a comment come through. Let's try and get that through, get out of the way. Robert says, thanks, SORAYA, for that insight on the attacks against other Africans. A lot of people have been wanting to know this, so Again, thank you, Robert, for your comment, and Soraya. So we'll start with Daphne. Can you help us close us, and then we can go to Soraya, and Anastasie will give us the last words.
Definitely. Thank you again for having me. And so also the information for the picnic, for the back to school picnic, is gonna be on Hobart Payne Park in Evanston at 1231 McDaniel Street at noon. And so if you have a child that's going back to school, definitely bring them over. Let's have some fun and then get some back to school supply for your children. So as we close, I do want to iterate that the Haitian community is saddened by the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse, and then so that it is a sad thing for the community. Any attack against the Haitian president is an attack against Haiti, and therefore no one is happy about that. We share our condolences to the family. Because at the end of the day, he was a human being. He has a family, he has a wife, he has children. And so we definitely want to show our condolences to the family. And we encourage everyone, whether you're Haitian or not, to come and to be part of the visual going on this Saturday. And then so Haiti was called the pearls of the Antilles, okay? And then so which means that we were the pearls. So we were providing the majority of the resources to France, as Attorney Senat stated. So we are full of resources. We have a lot of resources that can help us to be a sovereign country. And so right now, Haiti and Haitian only need compassion from the communities, from the international communities, from even the local leaders, so that we can be a people who govern ourselves, and we can be able to continue to do the best that we can to provide for ourselves, provide for our families, and so that we can go back to our country, those of us who choose to, who want to, for a peaceful nation. So thank you again for letting us share our ideas or point of view about the current situation of Haiti. We are resilient. We're going to keep moving forward, and we're going to go for unity so that we can all thrive together.
Thank you so much for sharing, Soraya.
First, I also want to, so thank you very, very much for the opportunity in this platform. I think it's extraordinary. And also to just recognize that during this unrest, we lost 200 South Africans died. Currently, there's a siege right now where South Africans cannot leave their home. It's too dangerous in the area that was affected mostly. And like yourself, we have to come together. And really, this particular moment in our history has actually united us ever more strongly against anyone who tries to divide us as a nation. And I'm really proud right now to say that we all stand right now with the governing party, because that's the party we've got. And we have to really support them in what it's going to take to bring our country back, and to bring all those who brought this horrible injustice to our economy to be held accountable. And hopefully this governing party will have the spine for once to see that Jacob Zuma is held to the fullest. Whatever the law says, they need to make sure he carries that burden. And everyone that supported him in destroying that beautiful country, just the worst ever uprising since apartheid. Wow. And we've all been scarred by it.
Wow.
And so we ask for your prayers, because right now we're going to need it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know you mentioned a while ago that you were doing an event, a project.
Yes. So we have our very first international all-women's art exhibition. It's going to be on Zoom. You can register at our website, so we can have you part of our database at colormeafricafinearts.com. Or you can reach out to me at SORAYA at colormeafricafinearts.com. I'm happy to engage you in what we do. We are also a nonprofit organization, and we also depend on the generosity of people who care about artists, who care about art. And more importantly, we are committed to making sure that artists from Africa and the diaspora get an equal platform on the international market for their work and for their effort and their contribution to art. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. Anastasie, please go ahead. I'm sure that some of you watching may have noticed that, you know, Anastasie and I have, like, for one thing, we have similar names, right? Sena, and, you know, and we are very passionate. So, you know, we share our passion on this show. We share our passion in our comments and in our submission. So that was that was about. Being passionate about things we care about. And so I would like Anastasie to close us with her last words, and we shall try and wrap up this conversation this evening. Please go ahead, Anastasie.
Is my mic on?
Oh, yes, it's on.
Okay. Well, I wanted to thank everyone for joining. I wanted to thank everyone for being a participant. If you'd like to reach the Haitian American Lawyers Association, we can be reached at HALA_Illinois@gmail.com. We also have a website, HALAIL.org. We also can be found on Facebook. And of course, we also have a Cash App. So $HALA, HALA_Illinois. So feel free to donate to any of the things that we're doing, and hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you so much, Anastasie Sena, for your words, and I'd like to thank all our audience who have contributed and joined us from the beginning up until now. I think we had the last one coming in. Okay, so Deuce Duck is also here. Looking forward to. Okay, so that was the last comment that came in, probably. Tony, Tivana, Asti, Simba, Lias, and all of you who joined the conversation. If I haven't mentioned your name, it's probably because I'm not seeing it based off what I'm looking at here. But even though I may not have mentioned it or seen it, we just want to let you know that we appreciate you joining us and contributing to the show. This coming Sunday, 2 to 4, we'll be here talking about intercultural relationships and marriages, the challenges, the opportunities, and whatnot. So Sunday coming, 2 to 4 p.m., intercultural marriages and relationships will be on the Progressive Mind Show. To my guest, SORAYA SHEPPARD, Executive Director of Color Me Africa Fine Arts, Ms. Anastasie Sena, the incoming President of HALA, DAPHNEE, RENE, Antoine, CEO of AJ Unlimited. I love you guys, and I appreciate you being here and sharing stories and opening our eyes. Some of these things that we did not know, we believe that we have learned, or at least spark an awareness this evening. Well, that being said, to whom much is given, much is required. This has been the Progressive Mind Show. We shall see you again this Sunday, 2 to 4 p.m. Next week, it will be Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. Ladies, have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night.
Nice being with you.